Today I'm going to be making a video about, excuse me, beware of the camera. Hey guys, so today I'm making a video on how to teach your green horse to stand at the mounting block. B here really struggles with standing still at the mounting block or just standing still in general, and I figure someone else is probably struggling with the same issue out there, so I might as well make a video. We're moving? Okay, bye. I'm going to be walking through what I do with green horses when they're acting up and how I handle them, and teach them just to stand still at the mounting block, and that way you can get on with just a long, loose rein, because we all like to be able to just get on and not worry about our horses taking off. It's always nice to, get seated before they, take off bucking and doing all the crazy stuff. I hope you guys enjoy the video. I'm just walking through what I do with my horses and how I kind of work on it. In this video, it's clearly tailored to her specifically because that is the horse I was working with at the time, and that's what I was handling. If you guys have questions or comments about that you're dealing with something else, go ahead, ask me. I'm more than willing to answer them. I can't guarantee I'll have an answer. And welcome to the land of boring voiceovers, where it's not very interesting, but informational as heck. So in the beginning, when I'm working with a green horse, I have to get them to line up with the mounting block. A lot of times, most horses I've found, they like to play the back and forth game, where once you're up standing on the mounting block, they'll move away from it. They'll either walk forward, and then you ask them to go backwards, and they go flying backwards, or they swing their butt away from the mounting block so you can't even reach the stirrups at all. In the case of where they're swinging their butt away from the mounting block, just line the mounting block up with the railing. That way when they go to swing their butt out, they hit the rail instead of being able to just swing it out into open space. As you can see, B is playing the back and forth game where I'm asking her here to back up and she's just kind of ignoring me. And then when she backs up, she goes way too far back. And so I have to ask her to come back forward. In the beginning, it's really tedious, but a lot of horses do this and you just gotta keep working on them and just reset them. Don't get angry, don't get upset, just reset them to where they were. Once they're standing, you can go ahead and get on. Keep in mind when you first get on, they might be really reactive. Such as there, where I got on and she went to walk off and I really hardly corrected her and she just kind of freaked out, chucked her head in the air, and that was what she did. When that happens, just be calm, be soft with your hands and your elbows, and ask them to stand for about 1 to 3 seconds before you allow them to walk on. Don't ask too much of them in the beginning, just a little bit. You don't want to stress their brains out right away. The idea is that eventually I'll be able to ask her just to stand for about 10 minutes and she will do it just fine on a long rein without needing correction or anything of that nature. In the beginning you saw how reactive she was to my hands. Here she went to walk forward and I hardly corrected her. You'll see right here I barely do anything with my hands. And she took a typical green horse method of evasion where she just decided to go up to escape standing still. I just want to take a moment to really quick address her acting up, where if I had gotten after her and scolded her a lot, she would have escalated quickly in her behavior and she would have had bigger explosions. Whereas I chose to kind of scratch her on the neck and ask her to take a couple of deep breaths and just focus on what I had originally asked her, is just standing still. Don't make a huge deal out of them acting up. If you make a huge deal out of that, they're going to remember the moment where they acted up rather than the moment when you brought them back around to stand and you made a huge deal out of them standing and praising them. A lot of times people go to make the wrong thing hard. And when you're going to make the wrong thing hard, it does work in some situations. But in this situation, it would have just riled her up more and caused more tension rather than helping the issue. And so in this scenario, it was a lot more beneficial for me to scratch her on the neck and just point out to her what I was asking her originally, and that rearing wasn't an option. So I just brought her back around, had her stand again, and praised her for standing rather than rearing. So you see, now that I got her standing again, I just scratched her on the neck and kind of helped her breathe and figure out that the world wasn't ending when she stands still and that rearing wasn't an option. In earlier rides I had with her, she reared a little bit more and I kind of scolded her and tried smacking her in between the ears and she didn't respond well to that. She got more flustered and more aggravated, and so using this method today, it worked a lot better than other methods had in the past with her. Once I get them standing for about 3 to 5 seconds, I always ask them to stand. If they wiggle at all, I just bring them back to standing. And I start working on giving them a longer rein, releasing it so they don't have constant contact. Once they're willing to stand, I go ahead and dismount and redo the whole process. You can tell here she has an issue with dismounting as much as she does mounting. She kind of just is a wiggly little horse, which is totally fine. She'll just progress over time and improve eventually. I'm not looking for a huge change right off the bat. Nah, it's unreasonable. I'm looking for small improvements. I'm looking for her to offer to stand still rather than immediately going to walk off. Of course, over time and repetition are going to help your horse improve hugely, and getting off 4 to 5 times at the beginning of your ride and getting back on is just going to help that repetition stick in their brain, and that is that they can just stand still at the mounting block. And you can already see here with our second time getting on, she was 10 times better behaved, and that was just from walking circles around the mounting block, asking her to halt, and not necessarily with the mounting involved, but it worked on both standing still without the mounting block and standing still while mounting. B quickly improved with this ride, and I was able to start giving her a lot longer of a rein while she was standing. And you saw there where I went to go correct her, she didn't react nearly as much. And when your horse is swinging their butt around, or if they're backing up or anything, don't make a big deal of it. Just bring them back around to standing how you originally had them, and expect them to stand from there. Focus really on what you're asking, and don't focus too much on what they were doing. They'll respond a lot better if you have a single-minded focus. If you're thinking this process is long and tedious and kind of boring, you're not wrong. That's why they're acting up. That's why they're, not wanting to stand, is because it's boring. It's not fun to stand still for a long period of time. They want to move. They want to do something. But you need to focus. You need to help them understand that standing isn't as bad as they might make it. Yeah, dressage work is boring to us eventers, but you have to do it. It's really crucial to jumping and everything else. And so is standing. Standing is a necessity if you ever want to move on in your riding with your green horse. This was a really proud moment for me where you can't really tell in the video, but she was standing on a long rein and she didn't walk off until I asked her to walk off, which was a huge deal because early in the ride you saw the very first time I asked her to stand, she walked off, she wanted to rear a little bit, and now that I could bring her around and just have her on a long rein to stand, yeah, she wanted to walk off a couple of times, but she took really minor corrections. And she was a lot better. She was still kind of wiggly when I went to dismount, but it's all a process. She's standing so much better now when I'm on her, just asking her to stand still. It's a huge deal. If your horse is behaving like this, make a big deal out of it. Really praise them. Make them remember that moment that they stood still and you praise them and they're getting scratched, rather than that moment where they're acting up way in the beginning of the ride. I like to also move the mounting block around a lot, or just kind of toss it. That way I get in some bomb proofing, as well as that it's great that I can get on from one location in the arena every single time, but surprisingly, you're not always going to get on in the same exact place. You gotta move. You gotta ask them to do it elsewhere. That's life. That's what you do. And so it's really important that you move the mounting block around. Move it to the other side of the arena where they get a little bit more anxious, and rework the process. That way you can get on anywhere and all that jazz. And once your horse stands brilliantly like she just did, that was perfect. I was able to praise her. It was a long rein, nothing too major. If your horse stands that well, if your horse makes even the slightest improvement, make a huge deal out of it. Praise the holy loving crap out of them and make them know that they did it right. That they be proud of them, even if it's not a huge improvement. Be proud of the little steps and the little bit of progress they're making. Make sure whenever your horse is improving that you're really rewarding them and you're really showing them that they did it correctly. She's clearly going to remember that moment where she got praised a lot, way more than the moment in the beginning of the ride where she reared. And here she's chucking her head a little bit around, but she's not walking off. Before, she would have totally walked off and ignored me. Here she stood still and was behaving super well. It's important that you repeat the process, just don't repeat it excessively. I got on probably 4 or 5 times during this ride, and when she started behaving and standing as well as she is in this, I just moved on and let her go do the rest of our ride instead of making her brain focus for too long and having her act up eventually again. It's okay if your horse doesn't make huge leaps and bounds improvements. Any little step is a huge improvement. Make a big deal out of that and let them work at their own pace. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos from me, hit the subscribe button. That way you know when I post new videos. What am I looking at? 2. If you want to see any future videos about working through things with green horse, or if you want to see what I'm doing with her, let me know in the comments. Let me know what you guys want to see. I like how I say you guys because no one else watches videos but myself. But if someone else out there is watching this and you're struggling, or you want help, or you want to just ask a question, let me know. I am more than there's bird poop on this. Let me know. I am more than willing to help you out. I'm not a trainer. I just figured I would put out there what I've learned over the years and what I'm handling right now. So goodbye. Or not.